So I think there are really two things that I've seen consistently that make someone a successful leader. The first thing is a willingness to listen. So oftentimes, you as the public administration person are trying to take in information and figure out what is the best way to provide a solution to a given problem. And so that oftentimes requires listening, really trying to be investigative, deliberate, and really trying to understand someone. And that isn't always easy to do because, as someone who has been in both the government side of things as also as the nonprofit part side of things, it is very easy for things to get heated. And being able to stay level headed while you're listening is equally important. The other thing that I'll say, and this is kind of an extension of the first point, is being able to build coalitions. So oftentimes it is the public policy that is being developed and being written and everything, and that is very important. But you also need to be working with others in a community to make a certain public policy stick. And so an example from my own work is Kansas City recently adopted back in 2020 something known as Vision Zero. Vision Zero is this idea that traffic violence, so crashes, serious injuries, and fatalities, are preventable. And we know what we can do to prevent this. So it isn't enough for Kansas City to just have the resolution that says Vision Zero is important. They also have to have a task force made up of elected officials, city staff, nonprofit leaders like BikeWalkKC, neighborhood leaders from places like the Northeast and South Kansas City, as well as others who are all contributing additional insights to help inform the policy that will be developed to help Kansas City reach that important goal. That is a really big part of public administration because no one can accomplish any of these issues on their own. It really does take a coalition of people to be able to get something done, and this is a really important part of public administration. I think a curious mind. You have to constantly be willing to learn, to educate yourself, to read, because there's so much more that you can understand about a given topic. I've been working with BikeWalkKC since 2017, and I still very much consider myself um, somewhat new to the whole realm of active transportation. Even though people sometimes call me an expert, I still consider myself a student in terms of what it is that I'm trying to learn. So never get tired of learning, never get tired of reading, of researching. And then I think the other skill that's important is being able to observe. And this is kind of like being able to listen, but being able to observe is not just being able to research, but also being able to kind of compartmentalize in a way some of the external elements which may be impacting how someone views a certain issue. So especially in active transportation, there is there are times where it is very hard to kind of get people to kind of see things, and it's not necessarily because people don't want to see it, but it's often because how they see things, how they are interacting with a given space is far more important and far more pressing to them than what data or numbers may tell them. Now, that doesn't mean that the data and the numbers aren't important, but I think that the challenge and the skill that is needed there is being able to observe enough to understand what it is that someone is trying to say, and then ultimately show them with those data and resources that a proposed solution is actually going to help address that problem that they know is there. So I think that this is something that is not necessarily limited to recent grads and interns, but I think making your voice heard. I think that Oftentimes we kind of think that public policy kind of just happens in a back room, and I don't think that it needs to be that way if people are more willing to get involved. Interns and recent grads, you have like the fresh knowledge, you have the fresh eyes, and oftentimes that needs to be combined with kind of loud voices to not only counteract some of the misconceptions about certain issues like active transportation, but also to show that there is support, willingness, and an eagerness to try new approaches which may not have been considered in the past. And I think that is the benefit of having interns and recent grads in this field, is that you are bringing a fresh perspective to a field that is constantly evolving. And I think that in order for it to continue to be successful, we need people who are vocal from the jump, in terms of wanting to push for new approaches to long-standing issues.